Hello and welcome to Matt Loves Eurovision. It's my Eurovision 2025 Grand Final preview. Please do click the subscribe button, ring that notification bell and like, share and comment below. It's my last video before the Grand Final takes place. I'm recording this on the morning of the Friday, so we've got the dress rehearsal coming up this afternoon and then of course the extremely important jury show in the evening. Before then we have obviously the televised grand final tomorrow on the Saturday evening, and I should be down in London for that in a big party as well. Whatever happens as well, celebrating or commiserating, who knows what. The running order came out actually relatively early. It was still about 1:20 in the morning UK time, but I was still up to have a look at it. But I've had a more of a chance to have a look at it through now. Also, I know plenty of people who have got some analysis around this as well. Now, if we take a look at it, I'm not going to do necessarily go through in detail through every single country because I don't want to have this as an endlessly long video necessarily. But I'll sort of point out some kind of things of interest or sort of comments. Just to remind you that we've had a producer running order for the last 12 years now. Well, that's still the same, but they are drawn into different pots of first half or second half. However, there's been a change that they introduced last year where they actually give producers choice to some of the entries, which means the producers can put them wherever they like, so it just gives them even more flexibility. So actually in the end, only 6 countries are drawn in the first half, 6 countries are drawn in the second half, and then another 14, which is sort of over half the field, is producers' choice. I haven't got the list of who was producers' choice and who was the other side right with me, but I'll try and remember for some of the key ones. Anyway, let's take a look at this. As you can see, opening up with Norway, which is, I think that's a pretty solid. It's slick, it's solid, it's safe, but isn't going to trouble. I think the top of the scoreboard, I think, is the answer, is the way that we see it there. Luxembourg coming second. Obviously, no country has ever won from second place. I don't think Luxembourg was necessarily in contention, so I don't think that's a big issue. Ukraine proved last year that you can get a big televote in the second spot. This is it just looks fantastic, Luxembourg, and I think it's a very good way it's a good start to it's obviously good for that to be near the start of the show because it showcases it really showcases kind of the possibilities of the staging. It's also very kind of young. It appeals to kind of all age ranges as well who might be watching in that earlier stage. Estonia, now I know this was a producer's choice. They put this one on very early. I think, knowing that it's likely to get a big televote, but I suspect it won't get a very good jury vote. I'm not sure that EBU are that keen on Estonia winning, given Tommy Cash has been pretty anti-EBU and critical and etc. But could be controversial. I'm not sure has that really played into it. I don't know. But anyway, we've got 3 very up-tempo opening songs, and then we hit a ballad, the slower song, Israel. I suppose this keeps it away from. So we've got a couple of those sort of slower female ballads. We've got Greece, we've got and France, so it kind of spreads them out. Also, I think, and I have to say, I think it sort of gets this one out of the way, I think, as well, just in terms of some perhaps crowd tension. Who knows? I think there's a lot less than it was last year, definitely, for all sorts of reasons. But I think, I suspect, having that kind of over and done with, I think is probably, I think the producers will probably be glad for that. Followed by Lithuania, very different vibe shift, very, very different genre, dying beat. And then, boom, into Spain. First of all, the automatic qualifiers. They've often get early runs, Spain, kind of in this 6 to 8 zone. Worked for them with Chanel. I'm not sure it's going to work for Melody, I don't know. But she stands out, though, in terms of that really poppy, up-tempo song, sandwiched between Lithuania and Ukraine. Ukraine's not a down-tempo song, but it's not kind of that big poppy vibe. And then you have the UK coming after Ukraine. So two very colourful palettes as well, right next to each other. But I think there's a break. I'm pretty sure there'll be a break between the 7th and the 8th positions. I'll be honest, this isn't a great running order for the UK. I think it was always going to be tough for the televote anyway, but being put, but I think it's also not great for the jury side as well, because juries is where, if the UK is going to get some points, it's going to be from juries, and they've been put right in front of, obviously they were right behind them in the semi-final running order, but they've been right in front of the jury favourite, which is Austria. And someone was saying that these two are closely aligned in genres. I'm not sure. UK, like Lithuania and Latvia, is very much on its own genre. But yeah, not ideal for the UK, unfortunately. I will come back to talking about the UK's chances. Austria, they were drawn in the first half, so yes, this wasn't producer's choice, this was first half. They are one of the favourites. Number 9 is a spot that people have won from before, so yeah, that signifies its position as a favourite. Then we're off to Iceland, and yeah, again, another vibe shift. Yes, I did say that deliberately. And Latvia, they were drawn, I think they were producer's choice, Latvia, so that's quite interesting. They've been put into quite a plum spot, very, very different to anything else. And then we have Netherlands, one of the favourites. This was producer's choice as well, so they've decided to put them near the end of the first half of the final. And immediately followed by another of the favourites, Finland. And that is, now Finland, Erika was drawn in the first half, so this is the latest that the producers can put her on. And I think that's a sign that she either came first or second, I suspect, in the semi-final on Thursday. Interesting that you've got two of the favourites next to each other, but Netherlands and Finland are very different genres, so I don't think there's a clash there. I think people basically have got their choice of what they prefer. Also, I should say this was where Kärjä was as well, because he had drawn first half and they put Kärjä in 13th as well. Into the second half, another of the automatic qualifiers, Italy, very different from Finland. It's quite a change and shift, but that's what you want. And then changing again back to Poland, where you have full-on extra, very dramatic. And then we got the another automatic qualifier, Germany. I think this was also producer's choice. So I'm a bit. I thought this might have come later potentially towards it, but yeah, I think that's fine. And then into Greece. I think again Greece is then really well positioned between Germany and Armenia, kind of much more up-tempo, louder songs, and you have Greece, which is a very dramatic ballad. Switzerland had its place decided, automatic qualifying, obviously, because they're hosts. But yeah, it's a pretty good place for Switzerland to be. And then Malta is rewarded with a decent running order position. Now, Malta was drawn in the second half, as were Portugal, as were Denmark as well. So these three countries here, 20, 21 and 22, so actually 19 to 22 were all drawn, were all kind of pre-decided in terms of second half. But I think kind of Malta in between the more kind of subtle nature of Switzerland and Portugal is a sort of a good mix. And Denmark next to Sweden, maybe they just couldn't find anywhere else to put them. Sweden, they have put in a very good position. That was producer's choice. That's not surprising to me. Sweden is the big favourite. And then one of the other big favourites, France, right after Sweden. So no separation. Last year you had Nemo and Baby Lasagna separated by a song. So they were, I think Nemo was 20... I think he was 21st and Baby Lasagna was 23rd, because they had 25 runners last year, obviously, because Netherlands have been disqualified. So yes, it was 21st and 23rd last year between the two favourites. So yeah, they put them. I wouldn't say France is necessarily the second favourite. France is like the third or fourth favourite at the moment, but yeah, still amongst there. And then these last two choices are quite interesting. Now, I think San Marino was producer's choice as well. So they could have opened with San Marino. I think it would have been a good opener. Also, it would have been a good closer, but they've gone with kind of, quite a contrast to France. But it's really interesting that they've chosen to close with Albania. Albania so often get a really crummy running order position. But obviously, Albania this year, very different, really high quality, big fan favourite. And I think this is a reward. I think this is a reward to really showcase Albania and bring a really interesting end to the show. And it's quite a striking end to the show. I think that and with so few Balkan countries getting through, I think that's a really good slot for Albania. Don't think they're not in with a chance of the win, I don't think. But I think this puts Albania in a really nice position, and it's a really good showcase. So I'm very pleased for that. So yes, I probably ended up talking far more than I expected there. So let's have a just quick look or recap of what I think are the 5 favourites. These have been the 5 favourites for some time now, and I think the semi-finals have just really kind of confirmed that. I'm going to put them sign of where I think kind of are they more towards the jury, will they get more of their points from the juries, will they get more points from the televote? So from your left to right, so left for juries, right for the televote. So if I go left to right, I think Austria is it's the second favourite. It is the favourite to win the juries. Then we have France, also another big jury favourite song. In the middle, I'm putting Netherlands, I think, which could possibly get from both. Then I'm putting Sweden. I think this is the big favourite and a big televote favourite, but I think there's potential for jury as well. And then we've got Finland and Erica, I think. Although I think this is deserving of jury, I think this is probably going to skew more heavily towards televote. These I think are the overall 5 to win. I think if you looked at individually the jury and in the televote, you might see, so in the jury side of things, you might see, I think Switzerland could do very, very well in the jury, could vie for Austria and France for the win. I think Greece could do very well with the jury. She really impressed me, actually. I think other songs that might do well with the jury, perhaps not quite so high. You never know. I think Portugal might do well with the juries as well, potentially. But yeah, there's quite those are the kind of the jury ones, and then on the televote side, you've got I think the 2 most obvious ones on the televote are Estonia, but that will not get much of a jury vote, and obviously Israel as well. Israel is sort of 4th, or I think 5th, actually might have gone to 6th now in the betting. I'm not considering Israel one of the favourites to win, just because I think while it will get inevitably, she will get a big televote, I don't think that the jury vote is going to be there. It's too basic a ballad in some ways to sort of to kind of merit, and the vocal is not perfect. I think she's had a few. She's not been a vocalist. She's not been a singer for that long, so not surprising. So I don't think the jury's necessarily going to give that a high score. So I don't think it will out. So this is why I think these are the 5. And if you're going to make me choose, I think I wouldn't be very controversial in saying that Sweden is, I think, probably the one that stands out as having the most chance. It's in a brilliant position. It's very, very popular. It's going to get a big televote. It'll either win the televote or it'll come second to Israel. I suspect Sweden may win the televote, which is, and I think the juries actually will. Juries like Sweden. It's just there's no. That's not just me saying it. They genuinely will mark Sweden high because they have high production values. The vocals are normally very solid. It's always very, very comprehensive and professional package, and that's the case this year, as well as being very televote friendly. I think, although Austria is the second favourite, I do wonder if that is going to be a bit too divisive. I don't know yet. I don't know. As I said in my video about the results reaction, like in our group yesterday, Austria came 7th, which wasn't. I would have thought that might have been higher. I think some people really don't like the vocal, and it's quite it is divisive. But that might stand it in good stead. I think Netherlands, will do well in both jury and televote, but I don't think it's necessary. I don't think at the moment it's going to get enough points to challenge for the win. And in terms of Finland as well, I think that will do very well in the televote, probably less so in the juries. I think I think she may vie hopefully for top 5, but I think probably the win the win's not impossible, and I would love her to win, obviously. But I'm not sure it's going to be quite there. France, I think, has a credible chance. It all depends whether France landslides the jury. I'm not sure France can landslide the jury. I just don't think it's that exceptional above other songs. I think if you're going to give France a lot of points from a jury's perspective, you'd also could see them giving points to Switzerland and Greece, and it's that gap that the France would need to build up, because it'll get a good televote as well. I think it will connect, but I don't necessarily see it's going to get more than, say, Slaman did last year, and it might come between 3rd and 5th. Now I know that's what Nemo did as well, but I just don't think she'll get the big gap that Nemo got in the juries. But you don't know. I'm been surprised the last couple of years that the juries have landslid songs in the way that they have. Maybe this is the year that they don't landslide and you end up being a bit more like 2021 when you had Switzerland and France both did very well in the juries. Switzerland just beat France in the juries, and basically that allows Måneskin, who came, I think sixth or fifth or sixth with the juries, but they got the televote win. And France came second in the televote, but Måneskin's televote was so big that it wasn't able, and France had obviously lost out some of its points to Switzerland. So I wonder that could happen this year as well. Fascinating, always very exciting. I think from my personal perspective, I would be most happy with a Finnish win. Obviously, I realise Albania's not going to win, so I hope they do very well. And then my other favourites were Latvia, which they won't win, and Sweden are one of my favourites. I'm actually really comfortable and happy if Sweden win. I actually would be happy for Sweden. I know Sweden have won really recently. France haven't won since before I was born, and that is quite a long time ago now. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure I want them to win with this song. I'm not sure it's just stand out enough for me. But I think a lot of people do really connect with the song. So if that's what happens, that's what happens. Final note, just a quick note on the UK. People always ask me how they think the UK are going to do. I've said before, they're wonderful. They're really nice. They are great vocalists. The production's been ramped up in that track. It's not just them. I've noticed it in quite a lot of the songs. The production has been ramped up, and it seems to impact on the impact of the vocals. I think they still have wonderful vocals, but I'm a little bit worried that you've got Austria straight after them, who also has amazing vocals, and so because I think televote they're going to struggle. I think this appeals to some people. I know it appeals to young girls, as in really young girls, because we had my friend's daughter was watching, and it was her favourite by far. But she's 9-10 years old, so I think there is some people that this will appeal to, but whether or not it'll get enough votes, I don't know. Staging's much more stripped back this year, less complicated. I think it fits. It's very much West End show. And I think if you like that sort of thing, that's great. I just really hope they get a really, really good vocal jury show because I think if Ollie can come 13th and get 46 points with the jury, Remember Monday really should get more, at least as much as that, but you never know how it falls. So, but yeah, there we go. That's my slightly longer than expected preview of the grand final. I will be doing a kind of a follow-up, obviously a kind of a wash-up about the grand final, but it won't come immediately. It will be more probably towards the middle of the week because I'm down in London. I'm not travelling back to Newcastle, which is where I live, till Monday evening. And it'll be too late for me I might be able to record the video then, although I'll probably prefer it to do in daylight because when I try and record in just artificial lights, it always ends up focusing on the plants rather than me, as people know are never tire of telling me, particularly my friend Ben. Thank you very much. So yes, that will be a bit towards the middle of the week, I think, to see. So all it leaves me to say is I really hope you have a lovely Eurovision wherever you were watching it, or if you're actually there in Basel right now, do let me know in the comments of course, and join me again soon when I'm sure we'll all be saying, what the hell just happened? Take care for now. Like what the hell just happened?